Hey everyone, and welcome back to the show. There's something universally a little bit daunting, isn't there, about that initial moment when you meet someone new, especially in a different language.
Oh, absolutely, Ferd. It's like standing at the edge of a linguistic high dive, isn't it? You want to make a good splash, but you're not entirely sure if you'll belly flop or pull off a perfect dive.
Exactly! And today, we're actually going to talk all about those crucial first steps, greetings, and getting to know each other in English. It's more than just, hello, how are you? There's a whole dance to it, right?
There really is. And it starts with the simplest things, like knowing which greeting to use. I mean, hello is standard, but you wouldn't walk into a casual coffee shop with your friends and say, "Good day, fine sirs and madams."
Ha ha! No, probably not, unless you're trying to be intentionally theatrical. For friends, it's often, hey, or hi there, maybe even what's up or how's it going, which are super common, especially in North America.
Right. And then you have to know how to respond. If someone says, "What's up?" you don't necessarily launch into a detailed explanation of your entire day's woes. A simple, "Not much, you," or "Hey, good, thanks," usually suffices.
That's such a crucial point. Many English learners struggle with how are you because they feel compelled to give a full status update, but often it's just a polite social lubricant, a way to acknowledge someone before getting to the real conversation.
Precisely. It's like a conversational handshake. You reciprocate it quickly and then you can move on to actually asking about something specific. "I'm good, thanks. How about you? So, did you ever finish that book you were reading?"
And the context matters so much. A formal greeting in a business setting might be good morning, afternoon, evening, followed by it's a pleasure to meet you. Very different from bumping into an acquaintance at the grocery store.
Absolutely. In business, you might also hear, "How do you do?" which, ironically, isn't a question asking about your health at all. The expected response is usually just, "How do you do?" back.
Oh, that's a classic trap for non-native speakers. It throws you off because it sounds like a real question, but it's really just a very formal, almost archaic greeting in certain circles.
It really is. So once you've nailed the initial greeting, the next step is often breaking the ice and actually getting to know someone. And this is where small talk comes in, which can be an art form in itself.
Definitely. It's like the warm-up act before the main show. You're testing the waters, looking for common ground without getting too personal too quickly. Things like the weather, current events, or the immediate environment are go-tos.
The weather is the ultimate safe bet, isn't it? "Lovely day, isn't it?" or "Bit chilly for this time of year." It's universally understood and everyone has an opinion on it, however mild.
Totally. Or if you're at an event, how are you enjoying the conference? Or this food is pretty good, isn't it? It's about finding something neutral that you can both comment on.
And from there, you can sometimes pivot. If they say, "Yeah, the food's great, especially the desserts," you can ask, "Oh, are you a big dessert person?" And suddenly you're talking about food preferences, which is a bit more personal than the weather.
That's a brilliant segue. It's all about those open-ended questions, isn't it? Instead of, do you like the food, which can just be yes or no, asking, what do you think of the food, encourages more of a response.
Exactly. And listening is key. Not just waiting for your turn to speak, but truly listening to their answer so you can formulate a relevant follow-up question. That's what makes a conversation flow naturally.
I've definitely been in situations where I'm so focused on my next question that I completely miss a conversational cue. Then the person answers and I'm like, cool. So, what do you do for work?
We've all been there. It's a learning curve. But asking about someone's work or studies is another very common way to get to know someone. "What do you do?" or "What are you studying?" are standard.
And if you're feeling a bit more adventurous, you can ask about hobbies or interests. What do you like to do in your free time, or any interesting hobbies? People usually light up when they talk about something they're passionate about.
Oh, absolutely. That's when the conversation really picks up steam. I remember once I asked someone what they did for fun, and they told me they were a competitive cheese roller. I had no idea that was even a thing.
A competitive cheese roller, that's fantastic. See, those kinds of unique stories are what make connecting with people so interesting. You learn something new.
Totally. And it gave us so much to talk about. We discussed the history of cheese rolling, the injuries, the types of cheese. It was a surprisingly engaging topic, all from a simple open-ended question.
And it's not just about asking questions, it's about sharing a little bit about yourself too. It's a two-way street. If someone asks what you do for work, give them a bit more than just your job title.
Right, like I'm an accountant, but I mostly work with small businesses, which I find really rewarding because I get to see them grow. That gives the other person something to latch onto, perhaps, "Oh, so you enjoy working with entrepreneurs."
Exactly. Or if you're talking about hobbies, I really enjoy hiking. Last month, I went to this incredible trail that had these breathtaking views. Have you ever been hiking? You're sharing an experience and then extending the invitation.
It's a dance, like you said earlier, a conversational tango, where you lead a little, then they lead a little, and sometimes you might find a truly unexpected connection.
Definitely. What about things to avoid? I mean, besides getting too personal too quickly, like asking about someone's salary or their marital status in the first 5 minutes.
Oh yes, politics and religion are often big no-goes in initial conversations, especially in diverse settings. Unless you know the person well and are specifically engaging in a respectful debate, it's best to steer clear.
Agreed. And complaining too much, while it's good to be authentic, constantly venting about your problems can be a real conversation killer when you're just getting to know someone.
Yep, nobody wants to be an emotional dumping ground for a stranger. Keep it generally positive or at least neutral in those early stages.
What about when there's an awkward silence? That's probably one of the most common anxieties people have when meeting new people.
Ah, the dreaded silence. Sometimes it's okay to just let it hang for a moment. Not every second needs to be filled, but if it feels truly awkward, you can always revert to a safe topic or even acknowledge it lightly.
Like, well, this is a quiet moment, isn't it? And then maybe, so I was just wondering, have you traveled much recently?
Exactly. Travel is another fantastic go-to. Most people have either traveled or dream of traveling. Where are you from originally can also be a good icebreaker as long as you follow up with genuine interest.
That's a good point. Asking where are you from can be sensitive if not handled well. It's more about curiosity than implying someone doesn't belong. The follow-up is key. Oh really? What's it like there?
Precisely. Show genuine interest in their background, don't just ask to categorize them. And remember, cultural differences play a huge role in this. What's polite in one culture might be considered blunt in another, even within English-speaking countries.
For sure. Think about physical greetings. A firm handshake is common in many professional English-speaking contexts, but in a casual setting, a simple nod or a hey might be all that's needed. Too much physical contact too soon can be off-putting.
Absolutely. Personal space is a big one. Different cultures have different comfort levels. Generally, in English-speaking cultures, give people a bit of room. Don't stand too close, especially when you're just getting to know them.
So we've talked about greetings, icebreakers, common topics, and things to avoid, but what about the other end of the conversation? How do you gracefully exit a conversation without making it awkward?
Oh, this is equally important. You don't want to just cut them off or disappear. Phrasing like, well, it's been lovely chatting with you, but I should probably go grab another drink, or it was really nice meeting you, I need to catch up with a friend over there.
Yes, having a polite reason to leave helps. I should let you get back to what you were doing, or I'm going to circulate and say hello to a few other people. It softens the exit.
And always finish with a nice to meet you, or it was a pleasure talking to you, and a have a great rest of your day evening. It reinforces the positive interaction.
I think the key takeaway for anyone listening is that it's all about practice and being genuinely curious. Don't be afraid to make mistakes, because everyone does.
Exactly. The more you put yourself out there, the more comfortable you'll become. And remember, most people are just as nervous as you are about meeting new people, so a friendly face and an attempt at conversation are usually very welcome.
So, next time you're at a social gathering or even just waiting for a coffee, try out some of these tips. Start with a simple, "Hi, how's your day going?" and see where the conversation takes you.
You might just make a new friend or learn about competitive cheese rolling. You never know. It's all part of the journey of improving your English and connecting with the world.
Fantastic advice, Sue. And with that, we're going to wrap up today's episode. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Yes, thank you for listening, everyone. Keep practicing those greetings and making those connections. We'll catch you next time.